I think Takeo from T. No.
I like playing PubG. My favorite map is Miramar. And yeah, I'm Kermit. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Inside from Team Bliss.
โอ้
This is Kermit.
almost
Thanks.
ฮัลโหลสวัสดีครับพอดีว่าผมค่อนข้างที่จะเรื่องการยิงอะเต็งหนึ่งแล้ว PUBG ไม่รู้ว่าจะเดาได้ไหมนะแต่
I think Eddie from Brian.
EA Electric
แรมปี้ต้องหัดไปแรมปี้
ฮัลโหลสวัสดีครับพอดีว่าผมค่อนข้างที่จะเรื่องการยิงอะเต็งหนึ่งแล้ว PUBG ไม่รู้ว่าจะเดาได้ไหมนะแต่
อีซี่จัดอ่ะ
สวัสดีครับ ผมเป็นหนึ่งในตัวแทนทีมไทย ก็ไม่รู้เหมือนกันว่าใครลองทายกันดู
โอ้ง่ายจัดอีซี่
I think Thunderball.
มันรู้ no ทันดนฮองเอฟ
No Thunderball?
no เบลมอส
Oh, really? You sure?
yeah you can change yeah
Đừng.
you can
No.
you can change
No, the boy. I think Thunderball. Yeah, I sure.
พระนดลครับผม
Okay I will go for Tanado
สวัสดีครับ ผมเป็นหนึ่งในไม่รู้เหมือนกันว่าใครลองทายกันดู
Tôi là một tuyển thủ chuyên đi lẻ và gần mò đối thủ. Tôi tên là Waisama.
who are you
I think Quesama from TL.
เซมครับเซมคุยสมา
Okay
I know him no copy I know him สมา I know
I think Ninja 2K
ดูสิ
Yeah
Tôi là một tuyển thủ chuyên đi lẻ và gần mò đối thủ. Tôi tên là Waisama.
น้ำมัน E85 หรือ E20 มันดีไหมครับ แล้วถ้าดีทำไมพวกรถแพงๆหรือเครื่องบินถึงไม่ใช้น้ำมันพวกนี้กันเหรอครับ แต่ถ้าเป็นผมนะ ผมน่าจะใช้น้ำมันพืชครับ
ทีมไทยฟูตบอลอินสปอร์ตเวิร์ครับ
Oh, from EA?
yeah from EA นะสิ
I think 60 of Jacob.
Yeah I think I go with Electric
I think 60. Yeah.
ชัวร์ห้อง
Yeah, I'm sure. 60.
สิครับสิ
น้ำมัน E85 หรือ E20 มันดีไหมครับ แล้วถ้าดีทำไมพวกรถแพงๆหรือเครื่องบินถึงไม่ใช้น้ำมันพวกนี้กันเหรอครับ แต่ถ้าเป็นผมนะ ผมน่าจะใช้น้ำมันพืชครับ
我有2只猫，1只狗。我的猫叫圈圈，我的狗叫富贵儿，还有1只猫叫阿强。
I know it Yeah
ซาเวียร์
I think PMA Lulun.
I think is 国皇骄阳 from Taiju from the X-Men
我有2只猫，1只狗。我的猫叫圈圈，我的狗叫富贵儿，还有1只猫叫阿强。
I'm ready
again
Well, everyone, finally we can get game 1 underway. About 30 seconds until we get into a wrangle now. We've been talking about etc., but now finally we get to actually see what's going to happen. The other question, the other unknown, is what's the plane path going to be? That'll be an unknown as we go into every single game. But I think it's probably quite important for this first game. If people have drop spots they want to claim, the plane path is obviously going to be quite important. So hopefully it's generous. Hopefully it's generous for everyone to drop exactly where they want to and basically mark their territory. Otherwise it could get dodgy going into game 2.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too skewered onto either corner of the map, or else we will see too many of all these contests without any form of clarity on where exactly are they contesting. But at least for now, it's a clean slate for teams who have started in the play-ins, and will they bring the momentum moving into the finals? We will now find out, as we do have some of the teams that have been waiting to get some action, and here we go as we start off from the south, moving all the way up north towards the corner Stalbert. It'll be a little bit of extension to even get towards areas like Georgia Pole, so perhaps certain teams who are interested will have take a look at the island. There's about 5 teams on board, or it seemed like it's 5 teams, but it's about at least the 3 of them. So that's pretty interesting on how these teams will be able to journey the way through if it does end up in the mainland. But we've seen game 1 back in the plains to actually favor the ones who start off in the island. So in any moment, we'll be able to at least check out what happens in the first phase, as teams are already fighting for those vehicles. They trade, or if I say AGG, not so lucky.
Damn. Zest will be the first one down in the final stage, and he's dead at 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock. That's not how you want to start if you're AGG, especially on a zone like that. Dead center. That would have been a very powerful spot to be. Zest obviously tasked to go for that hard spawn, but Q Confirm much quicker to it, had the better parachute, and Zest caught out in the middle of nowhere. Would have been good, I suppose, if he could get some backup from his teammates in Rooftop or Rozhok, but they obviously couldn't get a gun in time. Bliss seemed quite happy and content in Yasnaya. No team to contest them, no one around them. Maybe someone will camp them, but they seem totally okay for the moment, which is good. And yeah, like you mentioned, there were 4 teams on Military Island. SGD, Take Me Please, Reluctant Squad, and 1 other as well. Reluctant Squad quick crossing the bridge as well. They don't want anything to do with any of the action on Military Island. They don't want to get caught up in all the chaos and have to delay crossing a bridge because a team beats them to it. They'd rather just get across right now.
Yeah, you can see the tempo of the play has been very early on S4T5. They're not too far off from the first phase, so got put in ample time for them to still loot up and then turn it away. Perhaps playing through the fields of Gatka or even Ruins could be an option for Tier 5. We've seen some good stuff, at least from the practice rounds, but FW already having a little bit of difficulty with the vehicles, but FW Esports, they look to be in really hot form back in the play-ins, scoring the top seed throughout the run. But I wonder if they would be able to, once again, enact the same sort of play style as they did have a stellar run throughout the couple of days that they played out.
Well, they're looking to continue it. They're going for a bridge camp on Forest Gaming in Game 1. So they're looking to continue that momentum and make a mark on this lobby. I think they saw 4 teams go across to military, and they've definitely recognized their opportunity. I think also it probably has to do with the fact that they are confident to be able to move into this zone. Their, I suppose, quadrant of the zone in that southeastern side is mostly free. It's just Cerberus that they have to worry about, and Cerberus are likely to move in and just play center just based off prio. So FW will have time to pull off this bridge camp and then move into zone without congestion. So it's a good play to start off with, but as you can see, Forest is wary of it. They are crossing the scaffolding on either side of the bridge, being very, very careful. They don't want to start off game 1 in bad form.
Yeah, and perhaps if they're going to go in rather late, I hope that they do have a couple of emergency pickups for them to utilize just to get in a little bit safer, though despite using it early does not really bring too many advantages. So perhaps they're willing to still scrap it out, at least for Forrest, who's already on the bridge. Meanwhile, for Arena, they start up north, so they should have ample space for them to work with. Whereas it will probably take a while before FW Esports finds anything through the eastern corners of the bridge, waiting for teams to rotate over. But Zigzag does spot a plane hovering.
Yeah.
He might assume that to be maybe one of the teams that goes in for those emergency pickups, but probably it's just going to drop in a crate or so. As for Arena, I think they're just going to look for decent pickups here as they trade or opting to scout out and about. Might be a good one-pointer in for Jacob if he drives any further deeper into the corners of 70, but it seems like day trade should be safe to bypass the bridge, and if they do group into Yasnaya, we know who's waiting for them. The Aussie boys coming from Team Blizz should be up and ready to go for a fight.
Well, Team Blizz have moved into the center in a very good spot. It's funny looking at Day Trade and Arena here because they've kind of collided. Both of those teams coming from the northeast and the north. Well, the north, I suppose, just in 70 for Arena. They both have this ideal scout spot into this next zone, and they've both rocked up to it at basically the same time. And so they've had to be very careful to avoid any danger. It's made it awkward for Arena to actually get to that location and scout on that northern plateau just above the river. Day Trade are already there. And so Arena kind of have to wait their turn or choose alternate scout spots. Olympus down and out. That FW bridge camp paying off. SGD arrived to the apartments. Mings, he didn't actually land on the roof. Is that going to cost him as he runs in the back door? It's dodgy, but he survives. SGD 4-man up in the apartments. A very, very strong position. QC opting to go for a 2-2 at the sheds on the hill and inside of school. Strong for them as well. Question is, does SGD split those apartments? Do they stay in one as all four? Definitely smarter to at least split 2-2. And yeah, FW did get there one. Olympus was sent across that bridge as a scout. He loses his life, but it gives across the information that that bridge is being camped.
Yeah, overall, Forest will have to look for an alternative route. Perhaps they won't be moving over onto the western end, but there is TMP around that corner of the map as well. So I'm not too sure if they're just going to maybe burn a couple of minutes just sitting by the blue for the meantime, as that may actually have the risk of FW to be moving deeper into the map. Meanwhile, Ramidada spots out movements coming in from Elite Esports. Walker trying to swerve past. It will be safe for now. And it's interesting to note that, you know, since SGD has already qualified for the PGC slot,
yeah,
they may not have that many stakes to play for as compared to the rest of the squad, but of course this
the money.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of money on the line. And also, you want to be battle ready when you do get to PGC. So, of course, there's no better lobby than to start off with this APAC rounds. So, right now, only a single point being garnered by both FW as well as QC. Other than that, it's just a little bit of a wear and tear through some vehicles as well as armor. While I really do love the fact that all these teams, majority of them, are already pretty much looking for the center zone as compared to lurking too long outskirts. Of course, Force Natural Gaming had no other choice but to hold back.
A very passive game one, only a couple off kills here and there. But everyone playing very stock standard PUBG. Priority has been taken, majority of the priority has been taken in the center of the zone, center of the circle. Everyone happy to sit tight and wait to see what Phase 2 does. And yeah, it's an interesting point that you raise, SGD, the only team in the lobby in the unique circumstance of already being guaranteed to go to PGC. But other than the money that they're playing for, they're also playing for that PGC 5 and 6 slot. So they are absolutely going to be playing it the exact same way that everyone else will be, if not more confident that they've guaranteed PGC for themselves. See how dangerous they can be. They're currently sat in the apartments. Obviously a very powerful spot. And I like their split. When you take the apartments like this, it is often better to hedge your bets on the eastern side. A lot easier to defend. And a lot easier to unstuck yourself, essentially. You can get stuck on that western side. Get kind of pincered between the school's lines of sight and the hill's lines of sight. So SGD playing the apartments standard as well. Phase 2 coming up in a couple seconds here. Is it going to be kind or is it going to be incredible? Oh, that is not how you want to start off. That is not how you want to start off the final stage. That is so good for Day Trade and E-Arena, and everyone else is going to be in shambles.
It definitely will be happy days for E-Arena to farm up some points, especially for those who are hoping to get across from the Rozhok Bridge. E-Arena apparently has a great setup already, as they've been holding through the hillside. I do wonder if Day Trade's going to go up, lurk around some of the members of E-Arena to perhaps assault them eventually. And seemingly enough, based on the minimap, it seemed like that may actually happen. Speaking of which, here we go. It's actually Lyrics that's driving through a compound, hoping to claim it for his own, and Tunnel quickly make sure that he won't be able to even put his name on the spot. But 1 HP left! Oh boy. Any closer, he will be knocked as well, and you would bet the rest of the squad will swarm right in. But now, both sides being alarmed. E-Arena knows that Tunnel is out there, but they haven't really gotten the full intel of where exactly the rest of Day Trade is currently at.
You can see Bliss coming in on the backside as well. They won't third-party this just yet, but if they get the opener onto Flash at the Petty, or maybe someone exposing themselves on the hillside, Bliss might look to third-party this. But in reality, it's not really a fight. It's just Lyrics that's been knocked, and E-Arena are looking for revenge. Zizzy might get it. He might also go down himself. Norans can't hit the shots. And E-Arena survives with 3. Day Trade have been playing this very well so far. Just on a macro level, playing the positions quite well. Tanadol and Nurin still playing that hillside split with Belmoth, and Flash is the backmarker, essentially the anchor sitting inside the Petty. Monty is getting closer though, creeping to see if he can get that opener. If he starts to shoot and Flash doesn't go down, then you can bet Day Trade are going to look to back Flash up. I don't think the exit is going to be super easy for Flash, unless his car is parked and perfect and ready to go. Monty just has to choose his timing correctly. If Bliss were to get that Petty, then that is a very powerful position.
It could be, especially now that they're scattered on the white position. Day Trade, they're hoping to eventually get a couple of catches, but I don't really suspect whether if they've taken notice of Team Bliss just yet.
He's backing off.
But Team Bliss certainly can apply enough pressure, and it seems like they will pull back, like you said. Team Bliss, they have plenty of options. They don't really have to overcommit, since this is still a decent spot for them to hold out here in Phase 2.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure for how long, because they're currently staying in the open area play. We might actually see more and more teams journeying their way into the deeper corners of this north point later on, as the circle will eventually move in a minute or so. But for the expendables, they will be very happy to just sit put inside Rozhok and wait till the circle dictates where they should go up next. But that also leaves other teams that were starting off over south side to be in a little bit of a predicament, whether if they should do a hard shift or not, especially for SGD, who took the apartments, and now it will straight away from the hands of the Malaysian squad. So plenty to be done, but we see at least about 60% of these teams are already on board.
I like how everyone was playing that previous Phase 2. Everyone found their way in with very little casualties, but now it's crunch time. Now that circle has chosen where it's going to go, and the priority positions are going to be fought over relentlessly. E-Arena and Day Trade will most likely stay put. Teraton 5 as well. They can just hold their western edge. Got a good split going for them as well. TMP going to have to come in and figure something out. Do they fight Teraton 5? Do they move up to the northern side of the zone, fight around the terrain? Important questions that need to be answered. The expendables, you mentioned them. They can sit tight in Rozhok if they wanted to. Flucky actually hit those shots. That's from the flat top all the way across the other side of the river into Roz. Delwyn from the expendables is on the other side of the river, but no, those were shots into Rozhok. Very sharp from Flucky. Starting off the final stage with a little bit of confidence. A knock like that will always inspire you to continue to do it. Buram on a very desperate rotate, trying to find some hole in the terrain. Nice grouping from them so far. Maybe a little bit split from the front car, but Dimisty's almost acting as the bait right now, unfortunately. They will go towards the gas station, park up underneath it. Difficult spot to hold. Doable, though. They just have to make sure that they aren't going to get grenaded. Spread out spacing is crucial in this situation.
Speaking of spacing, Team Bliss was not too far off of this location as well. They're kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. Hopefully that's not within the sight of Insight, speaking of which he does receive a little bit of tag.
Insight's under pressure, to be honest.
And there's barely enough cover for him as well. So
he's got that shot,
some long range.
But, I mean, he's alone with Breweram on the south, and then I think that's Tem Entertainment coming in from the north. Insight's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. So definitely need a little bit of helping hand, but Tem Entertainment is just driving right past these members of TV. And Talon got his wheels pretty much stuck, and he will have to just hold on to the towers for the meantime. Meanwhile, Reluctant Squad have gotten themselves a decent compound to work with. Spots out TMP, moving across the hill, as we will start to see more traits going through. Reluctant Squad sending Zayu deeper to join alongside with Jun, while Tem Entertainment goes in for a full collapse. It's gonna be Rook that goes down. Tem Entertainment just shreds apart the entirety of Forest. They've had a rough round for trying to get past the bridge, and the moment they get by, it didn't seem like they got any luck at all.
Damn, rough first game from Forest. Yeah, it just difficult to get anything going. That circle shifts even more north. Definitely a few teams stranded out in the open, Bliss being one of them. The Expendables have to make their way across the river now. Actually, they've already got their foothold. It's QC who are in a world of hurt. TMP pulling up on that hillside. They can survive. They should be able to survive there. Car cover, smokes up. Hopefully they've got a bank of utility to use. They may lose one in the process, but they should be able to survive until the end game. I mean, no one can run up to TMP. No one can walk over to them and just grenade them. At least not yet. FW making a desperate dash into the zone. Where do they go? They're definitely not going to crash the gas station. Not a chance. Look towards day trade single yellow. That's the play for FW. They rock up. They try to shoot through those windows, but it's difficult. Raze is knocked on the entry. Good grenade from Belmoth. So far, this is going in day trade's favor.
Yeah, having a little bit of one up, and they might be able to rush outwards to try to take them all on. Hymas managing to also lob in the grenade towards SGD members, but this is a solid defense being displayed by some of the top dogs of Thailand. Daytrade Gaming still holding on true. FW Esports finding it difficult to crack through. Somehow, Hymas has been able to do it all by himself as he takes out MML. More and more of these grenades being lobbed right in, but there are multiple shields now being deployed, but he knocks his own teammate. Oh boy.
No, that was a 6-axe knock. That was a 6-axe knock, and he barges in through the back door and gets another one as well. That nade is perfect. Right into the living room, right on Tanadol's foot, and FW have made that breach work. Daytrade, I thought their setup was really, really good. They had, I think it was Nurans in the backside there with the, or maybe, oh no, it was Belmoth in the back there with that foldable shield. It's like a deadly combination, but just couldn't get it done. Good util usage from FW, and of course they survive on the backside of that yellow, which is difficult by itself. Tem Entertainment they've just switched spots with Take Me Please. Take Me Please have vacated that, given it away to Tem Entertainment. And Take Me Please look like they've ended up in a worse position. J-Die knocked. They've chosen to not play the hillside anymore. Instead, they're going to go low. There are rocks and trees there that you can use as cover, but your cars and foldable shields will be as important. It's going to be difficult for them to survive here. Probably more so difficult than their previous spot.
It's so tough for them to actually hold out where there's multiple angles for them to guard. Meanwhile, Tim Bliss playing by the edges, trying to rush through up against VRU. Relying on all the smokes as Monty slowly gets shredded out. Open angles for Dimitri. He did not manage to win out that trade. Now it's all out for blood for Sanaxi. He runs out of bullets on that P90 and will have to just hold for a moment. Two members knocked out from inside of Team Bliss as they try to fight through the edges, but VRU does not survive. Inside has got them all sorted out, and also having Teddy to also third party in between. So they will have to open this passage up against Daytrade, who is currently preoccupied with plenty of teams shooting their way.
Yeah, I don't think Bliss are going to be able to survive this with all 4 up. Cow's already gone down. Monty will certainly die to the blue. And yeah, their next target is Day Trade, but AGG have started to arrive too. They're also out of a position. Where do they go? Surti rocks up just on the low side of the road, and Insight greets him with about 75 damage. Nade out as well. That should be on the mark. It looks like it is. It's perfect. Akita steals it away though. That's another kill added to the tally for Team Bliss, but from here, it's just going to get harder. AGG aren't really Team Bliss's problem. The problem for them is Day Trade, and Day Trade have that gas station locked down. The entry into that compound is basically wide open. Rossiter Jr. can't hit the spray. T5 tallies 0 kills as they try to make their way into the zone.
There's just bodies everywhere on the open fields. Pong tries to align his shots, but he does not land it. It's instead Mingzi that does pull up the palm shot, hitting the mark perfectly. But Mingzi still has to deal with Ranger X. He's trying to push through. It's only down to Ranger. And it's tough to even manage a revive at the moment. Consider the fact that there's just plenty of more teams surrounding him at the moment. Just got to rely on all these smokes as Pain drops all these bombshells and Molotovs into the smoke. Barely any wiggle room, but Ranger X is pushing through towards the trees. Perhaps that could be an angle where Pain will be able to spot him out while Meglovs catches something in return up against Reluctant Squad. More names slowly disappearing from our screen as he shoots through the smoke. Jervis does trade back though. SGD looking pretty clean.
Well done to get through that kind of a mess. Cerberus is the next target for them, but they've already locked down some of the best spots on that side of the zone. Insight down to Chimoy. Bleed making their aggress as well. Reluctant Squad trying to push outside of that yellow and see if they can get a third party, a foothold into what is going to be the next zone. A great nade from Glories takes down Tigger, and now there's only 2 left on E Arena. The Expendables push up. Expectations are high for the Expendables. We know what they can do. We know what their peak can be. About time we see them in peak form. Day Trade gone. Can't do it up against FW, who took their yellow. Tigger will get rezzed actually. E Arena, nice smoke wall. It's a short smoke wall, but it's a good one. They'll get that res, and they'll be able to fight back against the Expendables, who haven't made it deep enough off that initial knock.
Oh, Swazi's in trouble though. 1 HP left, and now dealing with the entirety of SGD. That will be quickly claimed. Hisaki will try to respond on his own, but not quick enough. Mingzi popping off today. Wow, with an M249.
Insane.
That's insane. Absolutely insane. But this lobby is equally as sharp. The Expendables, they're still rallying on despite having only 1 point. There's definitely more to garner up against the rest of E Arena. Big pile of nades dropped right in, catches onto Tigger, and this could be a full flush sent his way as the Expendables looking rather confident to eventually clear off this vicinity. Only 1 member left inside of E Arena. Down to Sizzy, going for that revive. Barely enough space or even time. Not a perfect lob, but the Expendables should be able to sort this out rather quickly. Whereas the rest of the field, they now have to look for that space directly in the center where we see that rupture as the Expendables will claim the entirety of E Arena.
Expendables definitely have another spot to go to as well. Technically, this bowl that was on the side of the hill should be their next destination, but they've also got to make sure that FW don't stop them from getting there. Delwyn, nice knock. Banana 1, smoke up, see if they can get that res. TE looking quite strong, and they've kept 4 up through that entire debacle as well. Reluctant Squad, similar story for them. Nice shot from Zayu, sharp as ever. Down goes Trick. Bleed now down to, I believe, 1 or 2. Yeah, just up to 1. 2 members of Bleed knocked. Orkarin taken down by Tycon, who does have that Orm. I believe that's the 2nd Orm in the lobby. There's another one on another player as well. Yeah, I'm starting to believe he's the rock for this team. He has done so well for them and come up clutch in so many different situations. If he didn't warm up in the play-in stage, then I don't know, man. This guy is an absolute beast. Maybe his next task is far too much to deal with, though. 4 members of the Expendables approaching Mingzi's territory. He does get 1, but immediately ran over. His life ends. SGD falls out of this game. There's chaos across the server. Bleed go out as well. The Expendables have taken control of this hill.
But I gotta say, the playing teams are looking hella hot heading into this first matchup.
Yeah.
SGD making it to the top 5 with Ming's effort is just incredible. And we still have FW really hitting every shot possible today. The Expendables having been clipped up by Tong K on that AUG as well. This could very well be anyone's game to take. But RS, they've been pretty clean throughout the course of the run, staying rather safe as compared to the rest of the squads, taking the lower side of the hill. So more often than not, we'll probably see TE to take on FW before committing to RS.
Reluctant Squad have been a silent killer in this game. They haven't really done much, but that entire north side is now wiped. And they have full control of it. The Expendables on the ropes too. 1 knocked. Nades coming in from Zayu. Will it hit its mark? No, almost. Just in front of Clory's. Duck Juice, though, on the other hand, he'll get a nice nade onto Banana 1. Jun actually pushing up on a very, very nice angle. He goes for the car instead. The bush on his right blocks his LOS. That is the most unlucky placed bush I've seen in my life. Tanvu was a free kill at that tree, and that bush stopped Jun from seeing him. Molly down though, flashes out. Tanvu's blind and most likely on fire in a moment here, but he avoids the Molotov. The flush does come in from Zayu, who backs down the hill now to get another angle. Dancing in between these trees. Tanvu throws a molly of his own. Another one to come in as well. Just continue to deny space. That one hits its mark. Zayu on fire. Tanvu doesn't know it though. He does now. Zayu's a freebie. This is looking great for the Expendables. Already up to 10 kills.
But despite that, the circle does belong to Reluctant Squad at the moment, as they are hoping to gatekeep the rest of TE from moving across. But it's pretty much an equal trade, unless if they manage to get the revives over the corner map, which I don't believe they will be able to reach Zayu at this moment. It's going to be a blind angle to take on Van Lai, so he's holding deep into the center. He will be able to cure the movements coming from Duck Juice. He's playing practically, hoping to get this catch. Oh, might be able to actually connect, but now he spots both of them. We'll try to actually take them on with the barrel spray. So they have plenty of utilities for the exchange, but
oh my,
Juice,
look at Duck Juice
going for a
and
big
Huang. They're both trying to match each other on this flank. Both trying to match each other and go as wide as they can. They both rocked up, engine stopped, exact same time. Tanvu has the knock. Hwang's flank is unsuccessful. The Expendables now up to 11 kills. Look to finish this off with a nice, well-played 2 versus 1. Tanvu picked up a fresh vest, which is undeniably what's saving him in this fight. I think that was the Orm shot that must have hit Van Nye's leg. He backs into that smoke, and Tanvu doesn't want to give this up. Duckjuice down low has all the information that Tanvu needs. Play it off the contact, play off what Van Nye does. He's down to 0 bullets in that Orm.
Oh, he managed to
Oh, make it 20.
Lucky enough for him, he managed to find a couple of bullets out there. Should be able to at least spot small little pixels of Duckjuice's body, but it's definitely hard to align with the pressure coming from Tanvu. His days seem numbered. It seems like it's going to be a battle of the arms as he tries to go in from tap. 1 HP left, and they will seal the deal with the first chicken dinner going over to the Expendables. Incredible win to kick off our finals.
Such a good game from the Expendables. They fought their way from the south side of the zone.
if they will bring us even more explosive battles coming our way.
Yeah, the first game of Wrangle was played quite conservatively. Everyone just kind of took their prior spot and then, well, they didn't really move until the circle told them to. I think a couple of teams were quite good when it came to pre-rotating and making sure that they were in a good spot for that next zone. But yeah, a lot of teams playing very stock standard, kind of international tier PUBG in that first game. Few pockets of chaos here and there. That end game was very difficult to figure out what was going on. I completely lost track of what was happening on that northern side when we were spectating E-Arena versus Expendables in that triple. That northern side was, I think, yeah, it was just chaos, and I had no idea what the hell was going on up there. But yeah, still a very exciting game one. As soon as we got to that end game, we got to see a lot of good individual performances. Hopefully we can see that in game two. It's a different playing path. Some of the drops will be exactly the same, but I'm still not seeing any hot drops. Bliss and Bleed might be going for the hard spawn on the eastern side of Yaz. I think, yeah, it looks like Insights nabbed that one, so Bleed lose out on that hard spawn. But in terms of hot drops, in terms of contests, other car contests, no, we got nothing. It is pretty clean on game two.
Yeah, we've seen some adjustments coming into game two as well, as you say that.
Wait.
Oh boy.
I didn't see this.
Cal managed to get away though, so that's good on him because he managed to yoink that vehicle and stay safe for the course of the run. AG almost getting first blood within the first minute of the game, but you're over a bridge.
Okay.
Oh, it's Sophia as well as Wong. I guess they don't really have any weapons at all, so they're just blocking each other from moving past. Yo, I guess
they're trying.
They got no stakes involved, so they will just hinder RS's progression. Is he trying to shove him off the bridge?
He's just trying to delay time for his teammates to get a gun, right? So Payne is just trying to make sure Huang can't cross the bridge, and eventually Huang gets free. He were close as well. Guns were just about to arrive. Very, very close for Huang. Yeah, I was looking at the picture on. I was looking at the map stream, not the picture-in-picture on that cow engagement at the start there. I was hard locked in on the map stream. I didn't see that cow was approaching AGG. Very interesting stuff. But, okay, so we did get a little bit of early action, but no one actually died. It was just some car action here and there, people going for hard spawns. I guess that's the subcategory of contest is the fight for the hard spawns, because oftentimes, I mean, we know the value of cars, we know the value of vehicles in PUBG, and even if you're not going to contest for actual loot spots, well, some of those hard spawns intersect with those loot spots, and so teams will fight for them, and I guess whoever's got the best parachute wins a lot of the time. Saw a lot of that, and yeah, thankfully no one died. We still have 64 alive 3 minutes in.
Yeah, on top of that, plenty of adjustments to be made by all these squads coming into this game too. Forest were one of the teams who dropped into the islands. This time, they will be playing it a lot safer as they drop very early into Kameshki, but they will have to take a long journey to get into the center, which shouldn't exactly be a problem considering that this flight path has been more than generous for all these squads to be able to take pick that poison overall. But what's going to be interesting is on what could potentially happen over onto the southwest end, because last I saw it was Day Trade as well as Bram United pretty close to each other. One taking Primas Quarry, that will be Day Trade, and Brim is holding out in Gatka. So if Day Trade were to dive deeper into the zone, they might have to eventually take up a fight either against Brim or even the likes of Reluctant Squad who are holding true to that very pure section.
Yeah, Brim probably going to opt for scouting on that Pachinki Hill. And yeah, that leaves Day Trade trying to figure out where to go after that. They'll definitely scout them. The timing might also be kind of slower than we think. Like we're sitting here thinking that maybe Buriram and Day Trade might collide, but Day Trade might opt for a completely different position, or they might opt to go a little bit quicker, a little bit slower. Day Trade might even beat them if Buriram decide to loot very late, but they aren't. I can see on the map stream that they are moving into Pachinki Hill. So Burram in prime position for this next zone. Insight rocked up quite close to Tem Entertainment as well. Looking for an entry potentially, or maybe he has no idea that they are there. And somehow Clories is inside Pachinki. And Delwyn as well. So QC and the Expendables are neighboring each other at the moment. And obviously Opons is aware. TE should be aware. QC was the team to loot Pachinki, if I'm not mistaken. And so they've come back, they've regrouped. Did Akita spot that player at the backside of the ice cream? I'm not sure. Insight sending it in, so probably not. Rogue is on the top floor of the double. White shots exchanged. Cow down to very, very low. They also have no idea about Thunders just yet, so as they push into Rogue, Thunders has an opportunity for a backstab.
Oh, this is an interesting split going on here. Tem Entertainment sends their cavalry into the walls. As they go in for their full collapse, it's Monty quickly getting the catch as they will eliminate 12 Kanawan. And it's just a sprinkle moment, and that's a double for Monty. They are looking hella confident to just go in for that full flush right now, and they just hit every single shot. It's all Monty and Inside. And only down to 1.
Thunder's never even got involved. And Escalusia, as soon as his buggy hit the tree or the UAZ, whatever it was, he just sat inside. I don't think Escalusia got out of the car. I wonder whether that was a DC or whether he was trying to get himself unstuck. But yeah, him and Thunder's never had impact at all in this fight. Thunder's, did they...
मेरा भी शादी होने जा रहा है बहुत भी कितना मोड छोड़ के
हमने शट डाउन यही बात कंटेंट की देयर इज नथिंग ठीक है इसमें
के बारे में देखने को मिला अब issues on their side. That is incredibly unlucky. Yeah, for Tem Entertainment. That's rough.
We thought that we're getting, a full flush Vincent from the side of Tem, and they absolutely froze. And I also felt like it seemed a little bit strange on how that fight actually went. Pretty straightforward, as Team Blizz just quickly claims all 4 of these members without any form of a hassle at all. So
it might have been all of them, to be honest with you, because when they pushed up that stairs, it looked a little bit too easy for, I believe it was Cow, to get that knock on the player on the second floor. The first knock on Tem Entertainment was difficult to tell whether he was DC'd, but yeah, that's really, really unlucky for Tem Entertainment. That was looking like a really good kind of bait breach for them. Thunders obviously would have had a really big impact in that fight. Team Bliss had no idea he was there, so yeah, very unlucky. Very, very, very unlucky. But we move over to T5 versus Take Me Please. T5 playing with a bit of aggression, but not committing to it. Take Me Please have a good enough split where T5 don't want to mess with it.
Yeah, it's definitely hard for T5 to take up a fight across these compounds. And they're happy where they're currently at. Still within the first phase of the circle, deeper into the ruined sector. What's interesting to note is the position of Arena, who are absolutely ready to see whether if there's going to be teams cutting by the corner bridge. They've been doing this for the most part of the play-ins, and it has been relatively successful, especially for that past round where they did manage to still get quite a lot of trades going in their favor. Speaking of trades right now, AEG also has been spotted out by Lyrics. There was an initial trade that sees Lyrics having a broken helmet at the moment, but it should be too worrisome for them. With plenty of resources left available, they should be able to last till they find maybe a different compound where they could just look for overstocks. While MML rocking over the corner of the port, I wonder if you've spotted out these members of FW Esports, who's just hugging by the edge of it. So just the early game long-range taps from all across the fields. Other than that, no full commitment whatsoever. Tier 5, they didn't really start off in a great note for game 1. We had Pat, who caught up very early on. And when they tried to move into the circle, we last saw Tier 5 was just battling for position, but SGD was just solid, hunkering down onto that southwestern end, and they didn't really give any space at all to T5.
Yeah, I think, obviously, at the start of that first Erangel game, Flucky hit some really nice shots from Northern Flat Top straight into Rozhok, but as we spectated the rest of T5, it was rough across the board in terms of mechanical ability, so hopefully they can warm up into this second game as the Expendables lose 1. They tried to leave Pachinki at just the wrong time. Q confirm ready for it, and Chexing, takes his first kill. The Expendables escape as 3, sending it potentially straight into Cerberus Esports, but over here on the bridge, Daytrade are engaging with Reluctant Squad. Nuren's alone at this warehouse, kind of acting as the anchor as Nuren tries to leave. Belmoth didn't get in that car. He stays inside the smoke. Bit of a bait potentially, but looks like Reluctant Squad is leaving, so probably won't amount to anything. Zayu, Van Nye, they're all getting in their cars. They're all leaving. They don't want anything to do with this, probably because it's a fight outside of zone. It wouldn't really result in anything other than kills for Reluctant Squad, and it just delays them getting a good spot in the zone.
Oh boy, but Daytrade now trying to fight back though. Thankfully, no tar is being popped, so they should be able to just continue on their journey forward. And like you said, there's no point in actually taking those fights on the outskirts where it's not going to be beneficial for a real squad where there's still plenty more space to claim. As I do say that, a lot of these squads are definitely vying for airspace, but what really went on there where SGD found themselves like collapse up against Brum United. Dynasty now tries to bring in that grenade to try to flush off any form of members of SGD around this compound. Zone 8 now zones him off. At least they can still work with 2. Will be a daunting task up against SGD, who is wrapping all around them at the moment. Dynasty does manage to spot out MML though. While they did receive a little bit of helping hand coming from FW Esports, with Raze also chiming in at the very same time. Big Nate's now flown across. MML hugging out the corner. Might be able to be snipped out, and yes he does. Finds it after all. Jervis holding on to the top corner, but he's trying to deal with that pressure from the hillside. It's not easy for SGD to play this one out, as BRU, they're still looking relatively feisty. It's now picking true. And, almost taking down Dynasty.
I think it was a headshot. Nasty from Jervis. Oh, the nade finishes Dynasty off. He goes into that room to heal, but Jervis is on it. Canaxi and Dynasty fighting back here against SGD. Relentless aggression from SGD too. They were the ones to engage on this fight first, and Burram have done very well to turn what was a 2 versus 4 into now a 1 versus 1 with the help of FW, but FW are just looking for kills. They're not really siding with anyone in this just yet. And Reluctant Squad there on the south, looking to finish this off too, and Cerberus as well. Why not get a 3rd team in? I think that counts as 5 teams potentially getting in on that fight. If you want to count Reluctant Squad, even though they didn't get a knock, that was just impossible for Burram and SGD to escape from. It leaves 1 from SGD. First couple games for Burram haven't paid off just yet. They've had a bunch of aggression, don't get me wrong. And now it's Reluctant Squad's turn. Jervis already put down to 14 HP. Going to be very difficult to get this, well, it's a 1v2, potentially 1v3. Depends how many Reluctant Squad members arrive to this compound. They haven't cleared that back room. That's where he resides. Trigger Discipline from Jervis. He opens up, but he can't get one. I really, really love and respect that Trigger Discipline. That was some Counter-Strike level stuff, but it just doesn't pay off. They kind of mess around at the bottom of the stairs. Someone pulls out a flash and someone looks into that back room and Jervis just can't get it done. I respect it. I love the Trigger Discipline, but just too many members to deal with.
Yeah, it was definitely overwhelming, but that could have been a big play for Jervis. But after all, he has been able to hold out for long enough up against Brum United, and there was so much pressure coming through the hills. I was just not expecting Cerberus Esports to also be involved, where we barely even get to see them from that mini-map. Speaking of that, we do have a couple more catches, and that's also from Cerberus, with Hasaki taking down the Jews out in the open as he quickly claims it before anybody else does. While Team Blitz looking for a free pass, but Zalalzi is not going to make it all too easy, but there's just too many teams on the Voyage moving into the southern corner of the map. And Nasto really takes firm control of this open space of the region, while Zalalzi also managed to spot out Chimoy moving across. That's one member down from the side of Bleed Esports, as they will not stop for anything at all. Now, the problem is, where exactly could they book for the moment? Bleed Esports, stuck in the middle of nowhere. They just got to rely on the terrains for the meantime. While there's just very little compounds for majority of these teams to eventually work with that is unclaimed at the moment.
Cerberus have a really good split on the northern side. Haven't seen zone in a minute, but it has centered up. I suppose where you would expect, kind of just to the right of the pancake compound that the expendables currently reside in. Open ground in the center of this one. Bliss dive into the center, claim that single. Cerberus have a, like I said, that nasty split on the northern side with the prio and the flat top in that low ground. Very deadly. T5 looking to get involved as well, coming down from the top of Potato. They've already claimed one AGG member on rotation. QC now looking to clean up the scrap. Sap out, rotating through. Noadra, couple tags and checks and gets it. Sap out, down and out. Opons will claim it. AGG tried to make that rotate and got caught in between two separate teams. If they weren't going to die on that first rotation through T5, then QC will happily clean it up. Luckily, two of them do make it through, so they're not fully out of it just yet. They're just in a really, really rough spot. When you lose two members on rotation like that, it basically neuters the chance of making any sort of breach. If you wanted to breach the flat top or the single that Bliss just took, if you lose two members on rotation like that, those options become not really viable. And so you have to send it somewhere where instead you're just hunkering down and looking to survive for as long as possible.
True enough, and that was a beautiful spray that we saw coming from the side of Chixing. Now, it will be another shift that will be favoring Team Bliss at the moment, as they're currently in the direct center of it all. Well, we'll definitely want to see whether they can hold out, because I do believe certain teams will be hoping to crash into that same quarter to just claim that spot to hold out for that late game. For the moment, though, over on North, there's just commotion happening between Q confirmed. Tier 5 has been struggling to actually find that space and will now challenge the arena in close proximity. Rositet driving directly into that corner, not noticing Jacob.
Whoa.
And that could be the demise, but Jacob gets quickly sorted out. T5 responds in a swift manner.
Yeah, you're right. Very swift. That could have been very bad for T5, but they clean it up. Erin are not able to get anything off of that. And yeah, T5 don't waste too much time. Anadol was forced to go to the close-range dragon of Zest just pushing straight up. I'd love to see that from AGG. They're a duo right now, and they recognize they need as many points as they can possibly get. They recognized Tanadol's shack was a weakness. He was a solo at that position, and so happily they will push up, throw some nades in, and it's a successful endeavor from AGG. Love to see it. Very calculated aggression, and it pays off for them. Nuren's having to smoke his car. The tires will be popped otherwise. And he's going to look to get out of those double barns as quickly as he can. Flash might have to be the man to pick both of his teammates up. Run back to the edge of that plateau. Forest up against Reluctant Squad here at Normandy. It's an even trade right now. As I say that, I look to my bottom left, and Forest have lost two members. Scappy, my personal MVP from the play-in stage. It always seemed like Scappy was doing so much for Forest Gaming Olympus as well, doing so much for this team. Scappy has to res now, though. He can't be the one taking fights. That's all down to Baron. He's got so much on his shoulders. Jun exposes himself. It's a freebie for Baron. So much more work to do, though. Dancing around these crates, Reluctant Squad have to team up if they want any chance at this.
But they're really holding it well through these containers. Scappy now still has nades sent his way. Should be able to eventually go in for the revive, but that also allows some chance for the opposing squad to be able to also go for a revive of their own. Well, take me, please. On the outskirts, spots out Sir T. He's barely got any cover at all, forced to actually make a deep run. But at least a couple of trees are in the way, so they'll be able to hug for sure for now. Baron eventually takes down June. So they're slowly winning out that fight over the south. While that's happening, it's AG. Now soaking some damage coming from TMP. These late rotations working very well in TMP's favor, but they're diving deep, charging towards the rest of AGG, where they find this rock to be a very solid defensive cover for the meantime. But then I see that those nades are slowly flying in. UNQ looking slightly worried, but he will definitely take a little bit of read over on this corner map. Sir T is on the other side of the blue zone. I don't think he can last for long. He might just be taken out there by the zone. Still got a couple 8s that he could work with, but I don't think he's looking to step out.
I mean, probably wants at least 1 here. 0 bullets in his Mark 12. He has to pick his timing right. He definitely wants 1 or just to survive, but how much more can he get if he just survives? It's a spray onto the Dacia. He does land it in the end. It was looking like a very good lineup for 2. He only gets 1. UNQ immediately goes for that res onto Megalos, but that's time spent doing something that TMP don't want to spend time doing. Latte does have a foothold, but it's not in the zone. And there's not many spots for TMP to go after that. So they're going to have to fight for this one. Flash, Shaq on the low side of the road. Teammate Belmoth in the bowl just to its west. It's a good split if you have to sit there as a duo. See if Daytrade can make anything of it. Orkaran running down the hill. Duckmai spots him. 50 damage or so. Desperately trying to get to his teammates who are in the northern side of Snake here, being absolutely blasted by T5 as they arrive. Teddy trying to fight back. Flucky's better on that Famus. Bleed down to 1 now, and it's just Orkaran. He goes down as well. T5 have opened up the northern side of Snake, up to 6 kills now.
Wow, they just wrap around these corners and found themselves a bunch of kills, and they managed to cleanly weather the storm. Whereas Daytrade, they look for a deeper angle into the center. With a little bit of pressure mounting coming in from the southern end, where TMP is also looking for the straits, but Daytrade, they found the entire squad of QC. Not too sure what went on. It was a full collapse directly to the center, and TMP, they take note of that. They don't want to rush into that position. While FW, they signed themselves for another battle. They drop big nades towards the rest of Tier 5. Great shots onto Fluky. Now it's only down to Patampong, and that is going to be another swift blow being dealt by the rest of FW Esports. Now, with plenty of space opened up, FW sees another opportunity for a dinner.
So clean from FW. Raze as well. We'll be looking to him to perform in this this final stage. Definitely the player to watch on that team. Delwyn and Tanvu, I mean, that's just nade central right there. The HE does about 50 damage. The Molly's going to deny a bunch of space. It even knocks Tanvu. There's a Molly in return, but it shouldn't be that dangerous. Just have to heal through it. Latte actually gets knocked to Delwyn's own nade. Another one coming through. It's TMP down and out. Delwyn stands up for the Expendables, doesn't let them go out just yet. Fantastically done from him. He loses his teammate in the process, but it's a worthy sacrifice to get that one done. And now Forest have to make their way across this road. Daytrade standing in their way. They did lose 1. It's just down to Flash now, stuck inside that shack. There's 4 up for Forest here, but Scappy's the only one looking towards that Daytrade member. It shouldn't be too difficult to deal with Flash. They just have to do it in a coordinated manner as to not lose Scappy.
But that's definitely a strong tension coming in from Cerberus Esports, having so much action happening onto that corner shack. Speaking of which, Flash is not allowed to even leave the site of Olympus. So he's not exactly in the zone, but it's only buying time for Scappy to eventually seal the deal. So 1 more point added to the block for Force Natural Gaming, having a better run here in game 2. Delwyn trying to stay afloat, but there's barely enough space through that tree. That will be Scappy to take claim, and now we're back into the top 4 with all the 4 squads having a full healthy team up and running for that chicken dinner. So at this moment, Cerberus Esports have secured the direct north. I'm not too sure about Team Blizz, whether if they're going to be in a decent spot though, because they're all hunkering down onto that same compound. FW Esports might be looking to take claim later on, as pot shots are now fired back and we're on the side of Samalzi. Great angles coming from Banana 1. That will definitely hold the rest of Cerberus Esports back, and that's a beautiful knock. Great tag team duo from inside, and Monty.
As soon as Cerberus leave that compound, they park up, but they're not aware that they're as exposed as that. Team Blizz can combine with FW's angles, and it nets both teams a point each. Cerberus were certainly not expecting that. Haisaki does have that low side dirt road, but they definitely wanted some members high up just to have a little bit of long-range cover. He You don't want to all sit where Hisaki is, but maybe that would have been the smart play in the moment. They lose 2. Been having a fun game from them so far. They've mostly just been allowed to spray their DMRs from a distance. Now it's the real test. FW step outside of Snake into the terrain. And this is probably why Cerberus were keeping members high as well. They didn't want FW to flank around or get a power position on them, but it's inevitable. Banana 1 is doing that exact thing right now, and he'll be in the zone for the next couple minutes as well. He won't have to move for a while. He'll stagger zone, make sure that Hymas doesn't pull off any cheeky flank for Forest. I mean, they're just playing on the edge. They've got smokes up, car cover. They can only really use their trees, and yeah, I mean, Bliss just sat inside the building with Cow in the bunker next to that shack. They have the easiest job here, but it might not result in their win. Yeah, they're fed right now, but this could easily collapse on them if they don't play this to perfection. Forest, they're going to be the target of everyone in the lobby. Forest have the least space out of anyone in this server to play when this one starts to close in.
Yeah, they were forced to run towards the area where Team Bliss is currently at. Plenty of open space, like you said. There could be sitting ducks, especially now with those vehicles being punctured off. But now one trying to take perfect angles up against KM99, where it's just a long-range 1v1 duel between these two players. While Cal spots out Scappy. Beautiful taps coming in from the SLR. He's got to clean it really quickly, though, before Cerberus actually takes claim. Speaking of which, Cal managed to do so. One member out there, Team Bliss, they're playing this to perfection, and all they really have to do is just to hold still for the moment. Not going to be an easy task for Cerberus to move anywhere deeper, as there's already attention being drawn in from the side of Force Natural Gaming, as well as FW Esports for the entire time. So perhaps this actually buys a little bit more room for Force Natural to move deeper. I wonder if they will be able to deploy those 5 smokes into perfect location. But for now, they're holding it back for the meantime. Widespread finds Hymas, catching one more on the chopping block, while Cow also submitting a couple of taps. They're just trying to rush up to the north, but that wasn't the best play possible for Forest, but they don't have much options left.
Yeah, they see a little bit of a corner in the zone that they have an LOS on, but they can't even make it there to begin with. Now it's FW looking to clean up Cerberus. Forest actually getting involved as well. There's a nade to flush out 6 sacks. Hymas with his second stolen kill of this endgame. KM99 making it more difficult for FW than they would have liked, but in return, Hymas does get knocked. FW in the power position in this endgame, at least for the moment. That could all change in an instant. Hisaki needs to go out. So does KM99. He is making this so hard for FW. Another kill added to him. He's just playing around smokes on this edge, making it a living hell for FW to get any play done that they want. Hisaki as well, a thorn in FW's side. Obviously, he's in the head rent-free at the moment, and as they have been the entire game, Bliss will sit in that single. They don't have to do anything overcomplicated to win this game. They just have to wait for everyone else around them to tear themselves apart.
Speaking of playing the waiting game near, Hisaki being spotted out as well. That's going to be a flashbang being possible for his, but that one goes in for the shred. We'll be able to claim that final member of Cerberus Esports. Team Bliss absolutely healthy throughout this ordeal between the 4 squads. Has the best possibilities to close out with a chicken dinner, but they cannot commit any form of mistakes. That could actually leave a little bit of spacing for them to solely get picked off, but at least for the moment. Well, speaking of which, Cow got taken down. On his efforts to quickly take claim of that point. And that would be KM trying to deny himself by the blow.
Oh, what the? Oh! Okay, yep.
He tries to find cover behind the tree, but it's just too painful.
He second-guessed it for a second there. I thought he was going to deny as well, but then he started running back in. He was obviously not safe at that foldable shield. Wanted to go out into the blue to heal or something like that, and then realized it's far too chunky to be able to tank it. Second-guessed himself, doubled back, but at that point it was too late. He was most likely dead anyway, but his impact in this endgame is undeniable. FW down to 2, basically because of him. Team Bliss also lose Cow because of him. KM99 more of a menace here than we thought. And we go into this 2 versus 3. Obviously, advantage